Hello, friends. Welcome back. So, I have been very sick for the last 2 weeks, had terrible bronchitis, and today is one of the first days I've actually had enough voice to make a video. So that's what we're doing today. We're making a video. We are installing Octoprint on a Raspberry Pi 3 to drive our new network 3D printer. So, I got an ANET A8. Which is one of the kit printers you get from China. I'll go into more detail about that later, but I figured for now it would be a good thing to show you how it got set up to print. There's tons of build videos from the manufacturer that I could not do a better job of showing you. Plus it takes hours to build the thing, so I don't really feel like making a video for hours, especially when I didn't have the voice for it. So instead, I used the time and built the printer and built a really nice table for the printer. But today, I'm going to reconfigure my Octoprint configuration because after setting it up, I noticed some things and a friend of mine had some questions about it, so I thought I would make this video for his benefit as well. So if I don't cover something in particular that you're interested in this video, ask me in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer it, but this video is targeted towards a certain couple of people that had some questions about what it does and why you want to do it this way. So I'm going to go more into that aspect of it. There's a lot of videos on how to install OctoPi as well. Don't think I can do better than those, but I'm going to do my take on it and I'm going to show you what I did. And then I'm going to show you how it all comes together. So Octoprint is this wonderful program that runs on a lot of different machines. There's actually versions for Windows and Linux and Mac, but we're running it on a Raspberry Pi. And I have a Raspberry Pi 3. I don't know the minimums that it'll run on, but a 2 or a 3 should be enough. You probably don't want to run it on one of the zeros, mostly because of the lack of horsepower behind it to do other things. And there's a lot of things this can do, so you want one that has a little bit more backbone to it that can do some stuff. So we downloaded, and I already downloaded this, the OctoPi 0.14 image. And I know this is going to patch as soon as it comes up because I know there's an update to this version. At least I believe they are. Oh, here, it says right down here. Pi A, B, A+, B+, B2, 3, 0, and 0W. After having used this for a while, I would say it would be good with a B, or a 2, or a 3. But I don't really think I could run this on a 0 in my configuration. Maybe in your configuration that would work, but I'm finding that the 0, while it's a good machine to do certain things, does not have the drive to manage some of the functions that I wanted it to manage. So I opted to use one of my Raspberry Pi 3s instead for this installation. So a Raspberry Pi 3, if you're not familiar, is a single board microcomputer that can do a lot of functions and act like a controller for a lot of things. It can act like a PC. It can act like a game machine. I'm actually doing another project where I'm building a car stereo with a Raspberry Pi. We'll see how that works out. I haven't really started the project, but I'm gathering the parts for it now. So I may do some more on that. But we've got some other things we need to get to first. So we're going to download OctoPi from octoprint.org. And I will put the links in the description below so you don't need to worry about that. But the things that you need to make this work are a PC, preferably a Raspberry Pi, because that's what this video is about. There are a number of ways you can use a webcam with this as well. And I've actually allocated my Logitech C920 to 3D printer monitoring duty. So you'll be able to see time lapses and whatnot of the prints and actually see what's going on with it. Right now I have a set of LED lights I'm going to install at some point, but I have not done so yet. So we're going to be fine-tuning the scene for recording them as we go. And you will need, and it has Cura Engine on OctoPi, so you can print directly from the Raspberry Pi. So you can just copy your G-code into the Raspberry Pi and it will actually go start printing it if you want. But in order to do that, you need to have downloaded a copy of Cura Engine, or Cura, no newer than 15.04. And in doing so, you're going to create your profile. Now, I'll show you the settings that I use once I'm done. I already have a profile because I've already set this up once, so we're going to import my profile, but I've got a picture of it. But we'll get to that when we're done. So for now, we've downloaded this button right here, and we've also downloaded Etcher at etcher.io to burn the image to the SD card. So let's go back to my directory where I have everything. Okay, so I've got Etcher, I've got the image file, and I've saved the image file to here, and I've also got my settings file that I use as a capture, or what template I use to set up my ANET A8, which may be beneficial to some people as well in a PNG file I will show you when we get to that point. But for now, we're going to burn that image. So we're going to select our image, and I've already burned the image, so I'm not going to go through the process of burning it. It takes about 2 minutes to burn it. It's a very small file. It's about 1.8 meg. So you select it in Etcher. It tells you the device it's going to burn it to, which is this generic storage device USB drive. And then you just click flash and it goes on its way and it installs it. I've already done that to save time. So we have our drive imaged as F, and this is what you should see if everything goes according to plan. If you've used your SD card for any other purpose and there are partitions on it, prior to doing this, you might want to remove the partitions, because I had some problems because I was reusing the same SD card that I used before, and the partitions were having some difficulty getting everything together. So now let's go back to the Octoprint page and we'll go to the getting started. So we unzip the image and install the image file to an SD card. And you can click this link if you need a walkthrough, but I'm pretty sure that what I showed you is pretty much a walkthrough. It goes in Etcher. Etcher writes the file. It'll verify it if you have that set up, and then it'll eject it, so you need to remove it and plug it back in. Now we need to edit the octopi-network.txt on the root of the flashed card, which is this right here, with a program, and since I'm using Windows, other than Notepad. So I prefer to use Notepad++ because having been a programmer, it counts lines for me. It does all kinds of things that are very, very handy for programming. As you can see, it counts the line numbers. So when I have an issue with something, I know exactly where to go. Now this file is very well documented. So what we want to do is go down here and pick how our network is set up. So are on WPA, WPA2. So we need to uncomment this. And this, and this. And then we put our Wi-Fi name in here. And what we would put, what our password is in here. And then we save the file. And then we're going to remove this from the Windows PC that we're working on at the moment after we save this and ejected the flash drive. And we're going to put it in the Raspberry Pi. And then we're going to connect the Raspberry Pi to the printer through, I'm using USB. And then we're going to go from there. But I'm going to stop this, pause this right here, edit my settings so that you really don't get to see them. And then we're going to pick this up again once Octoprint has booted, and we can go into the configuration there. So I was not able to go to octopi.local because I don't have it quite set up like that. So I had to find the IP address by going to my router and looking to see what the IP address that got assigned was, and then set it up that way. So from here, we're going to pause this. I'm going to actually edit my settings in here. I'm going to go stick this in the Raspberry Pi, boot it up, and then we're going to come back and I'll show you the web interface, and I'll show you how we configure it, and I'll show you how we enter the profile, and then I'll show you my profile settings. So bear with me 1 second. I will be right back. So welcome back. So our Raspberry Pi has booted up with Octoprint successfully, is connected to our wireless network, and I verified this by going into my router configuration, by going to whatever web page you would go to for your router, looking at the attached devices and finding which one was called OctoPi. And in my case, it was 192.168.1.18. Therefore, I know to go to that page. So to complete the next step, which is changing the password, I'm not going to show this because if I show you the password, you'll have my password, and I don't want that. So download a program called PuTTY at putty.org. And PuTTY allows us to do an SSH connection to a machine. I'll start up PuTTY for you. And you can see what it looks like. PuTTY is really simple. Looks like an old FTP program like WSFTP or one of those. So you just type in your IP address. And you don't need to change anything at all. All the default settings will work. SSH, I believe these are the default settings. And there. Now we have a login as, and we would type in Pi, and if it's your first setup, you would type in Raspberry, and then you would type in PASSWD to change the password, type in the current password, and then the password you want it to be 2 times. It also gives you some additional information when it starts up, but I'm not going to worry about that because that's secondary to actually setting up the program, and it's pretty well documented in this step right here. I mean, everything here is what you need, basically. So now we need to access our OctoPi through the web browser. So now we are at our web browser, and it says, hello, thank you for installing Octoprint. The wizard will lead you through the final steps to get your Octoprint instance all set up and ready to go. We'll get you printing in no time. And they're not kidding, it really is very fast. So we type in the username. So we'll type in that, and then we'll type in password, another password, same one. Now we definitely want to enable access control because we don't want anybody connecting to our 3D printer and causing it to start printing. And now we're logged in, access control is enabled, and we can go next. Now we need to set up a slicing profile. So we've got to import a profile. Now I closed it, which was stupid of me, but I've got my Cura profile stored right here. And I've got one that I did first and one that I did after that was actually better. So we're going to browse. Dropbox, 3D prints, Cura profile. And I called it right size because I actually messed up the size on it when I did it. And it identifies it, says what the name is. You can make it the default profile. And this is the important part. You can import your profile, your existing INI file from Cura 15.04.x or older here. Anything but those are not supported. That means the JSON files from previous version, from later, 15.06 and later, do not work. So you have to use this version. You can download this as an older version without a problem from the Cura site. But make sure you get the right version, because if you download the latest version, you cannot make a profile. I actually have the older version on my laptop specifically to create the profile. And if you're creating a profile while you're watching this for the ANET A8, this is basically my configuration setup. Now you might want to pause this right here because I'll tell you some things that caught me off guard. When I set it up, I got the X, Y, and Z all set. I got the bed shape. I got the heated bed. I set the G code to rep. I made sure these were all the same, and I think these are the defaults, so I don't think there was anything I had to change in here. However, the one thing that I did miss was that I did not change this from 3mm to 1.75. So my prints sucked starting out. So once I figured this out and changed that to the correct material diameter, everything went way better. All right, so you can unpause that. Obviously, for watching it, you already have. So we'll continue. This is our profile. It is our default profile. Everything that prints directly through Octoprint is going to use this profile. So if I copy G-code over to it, it's going to use this profile to print it. And I can change these, and I don't know why it has us do it again. Probably because the printer wants to know. And 240. Okay, that was, I don't think I changed any of that. 0.4, 1, done. Octoprint, done. Okay, we have to reload. So it will reload the page. And we'll log back in. Now my printer is not online right now. And like I said, there is an update available. I just downloaded this off the website and there's already an update. The updates do process fairly quickly. I'm going to actually show you what it looks like when the update happens, so you've got that information, so you can kind of see what's going on, so you can be patient and not interrupt the process. So it loads an updating window, and it pauses. The Raspberry Pi is not a supercomputer, so it does not proceed as fast as some of the things that you would do on a PC. So just wait. It will actually come up and let you close it when it's done. But let it finish. If you interrupt the process, you're going to destroy your build. Anything with Linux, you don't want to power it off, especially if it's in the middle of doing something. Since I have nothing on there, this should go fairly quickly. However, when I did it, when I had my plugins installed, it did take a little longer. But we're not finding anything because it actually has nothing to carry over. So, all right, the update finished successfully and the server will now be restarted. So now it's restarting and it's actually telling me what's going on. It's very informative. My printer is actually not plugged in right now. So we will do that and then restart Octoprint later. And I'll show you some of the things it can do. Okay, server is offline. It is rebooting. It'll automatically try to reconnect for a couple of minutes. When it reboots, it'll do a little bit more updating, just like Windows does when it does updates. But that's all it took. Printer is actually ready to go now. And we'll just have to reload the web interface so we get the current version of it. And this has new features in it, so it can do a connectivity check. And it uses Google's DNS server, so that's awesome. Server's reachable. We're going to enable the connectivity check and do next. We want to enable plugin blacklist processing and finish. Now, I had to change my baud rate on my printer to 115/200. So we're going to save connection settings and we auto connect on server startup so that we don't forget to do it. Now, like I said, my printer is actually off right now, so we're getting no data whatsoever. Obviously my camera is off a little bit as well, so I'll have to change that. There's our G-code viewer, our terminal, and it'll do time lapse. We'll configure all of these later. But you got the basics down. So the one thing that I want to draw your attention to is the settings. And we're going to install some things in here, but you can go through the settings and just double check and make sure everything is what you want it to be. looks good for temperature. Filters look good. G-code scripts. These are all defaults, not really a big deal. There's the webcam. Okay. Access control. There's my account. G-code visualizer will show me what I'm building. Crap. Well, I'll have to generate a new API now, but anyway, doesn't matter. So I'm going to do that. This allows you to do things like install applications or things that require you to put in your API for the printer. So it also shows up as QR code down here. If you're watching this video and thinking you're going to have my API key, you're not, because I'm going to regenerate it when I'm done. But I did want to show you that page. There we go. There's the folders that it works for. There's a watched folder that you can put things into. It will actively pull this folder and look for things. I had considered setting up Dropbox on the Raspberry Pi, although Dropbox and Linux don't work particularly well together, so I opted not to do that. But here's where the fun comes in, the plugin manager, which is what I wanted to get you to right now. So there is a plugin that I like. It is called Emergency Stop. And this one is probably the first thing you want to load, because the Emergency Stop puts a little button up here that if your printer is totally screwing up and you're in the other room, you can stop the printer. Now, I'm not going to go over all the plugins because there are a lot of them that are very useful, but I am going to add this. So you click Install Plugin, and it goes ahead and installs the plugin, finds all the details that it needs, and then it run the setup, and now it's successfully installed it, and it's done. And now we're going to close it, and now we restart. And the server's being restarted. And it will reconnect on its own. And I will show you what the emergency stop button looks like. Okay, I don't see it. Oh, okay. That's a different one than I installed the first time. So let's go get the other one, because the other one puts it up here, and it's actually very useful to have right next to there. Yep, that's the one, because it puts it up here in the nav bar, and that's what I don't want to scroll down for it. I just want to hit it. Because one time I was watching one of the prints, and it actually was building a very nice snake Christmas tree, and that was very nice to be able to just hit it and go. So as you can see, plugin repository. Let's clear this out. Does not display ones I've already installed, but there are a lot of them. And this will be the next one we do, where it does the LED strips so I can have proper lighting. But you can go through these as you like. Okay, the reason my printer is off right now is because I actually have to level the bed and, well, re-level the bed and get it straight again, because I recently bought a table from IKEA. I built it and moved it over there. And every time I move my printer, I do have to do some kind of adjustment on the bed because it always is off by just a little bit. So I had not turned the printer on simply because I did not want to take the time to level the bed. But let's see if we can get some printing going while I upload this. And if I can get everything set up straight and the camera set up straight, we can start a time lapse and you can kind of see that. But again, that is not ideal location to watch printing from. So I'll move that. I'll add some more light so you can see what's going on and get rid of some of the shadowing and get it lined up a little bit better. It's kind of hard to eyeball it with the mount that I have. And we'll see where we end up. But if you want to see more tutorials on things, by all means, let me know, and I will be happy to do that. And we can get whatever you want done. But for now, I'm going to start working on something that I want to give away. It's very topical, very much current, and I have a feeling a lot of people I know will like it. But if you're interested in the ANET A8, I'd be happy to share my experience with you. If you're interested in Octoprint and want more detailed information about anything, let me know, and I will be happy to do that. But for now, I need to go do some settings on my printer so that maybe tomorrow I can start the print that I want to start, because it's going to be a very long print. But I think you'll like it, and I'll probably give it away. So that's it for now. I'll see you guys later. And again, I apologize for rambling. This is my first venue into tech videos, and I'm trying to get this newer format down. So practice makes perfect. Maybe by the time I do 700 or 800 of these, I'll have figured out how to do it. But hey, let's get started on that and get it going. And I'll do more videos on Octoprint later as I get things going. But hey, I've got to go set up my bed right now, and I've got to go set up my lighting and my camera. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it helps some people, especially the person that asked me to do it. And if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll do my best. I am by no means an expert, but I know a thing or two. So we'll see what we can figure out together. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.